once again for the third time. You're becoming like family here. Yes, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Trade, Investment and Industry, Dr. Jumoke is back in the studios, guys, for the Ease of Doing Business Special. Good afternoon, Dr.
Hello,
J.
Lego.
Dr. Jumoke. We have been waiting for you. Not just today, but since the 24th of April.
Okay.
Yes, so we've been on tentative ears, looking forward to how it's all been. So I guess I should just start off and just say, how are you and how has it all been? Because obviously the deadline
Yeah, I'm
has
fine.
been and gone.
It's been really hectic, but
Yes.
we had to give it a good push for Nigeria and to make sure, most importantly, that the reforms are sustainable and that they're testimonials because they're actually making impact. So
Okay. All right. So 60 days was up on the 24th, which was this Monday. You've been in twice when you first came to introduce it. You came in midway through and there were some things, but you were fairly on track, so to speak. And now that we have, 60 days is up basically. So
Yeah.
where are you and where are we?
Yeah.
What did you all achieve? What did you achieve? What did you and your team achieve? I think that's the most important question.
Well, yeah, so 60 days was up precisely on the 21st.
First, I beg your pardon. Okay.
But we released the scorecard, the report card on the 24th. The council met on the 24th and then we released. I think the short answer is that we were able to complete 70%.
That's good news.
Yes,
it's
well,
over
yes.
50%. So, yes.
We were able to complete 70% of the reforms we set out to capture. That was about 15 out of 22 reforms.
Okay.
And then we did about 10 others that we hadn't announced that we were going to do. So we worked on some additional things and we were able to do about 10 of those. The 30% that we didn't hit, the council met on Monday, like I said, and asked the MDAs what the issues were. Some of them needed just some time extension. So there's a further 45 days.
Oh,
30
okay.
to 45 days, depending on the MDA and the problem, for them to finish it because...
Okay, they must hit it. They must achieve it, basically, what you set out to. Albeit, I know we're concentrating too much on 60 days, so I think it's most important that I at least congratulate you, you know, for doing your best in that time frame.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And 15 out of 22 reforms is really, it's not a bad scorecard. Or 70% is not a scorecard. Okay, you will definitely get into the nitty-gritty of it with regards to the finale or how you all rounded up in a couple of moments. But let me just let everybody know that they can definitely join the conversation because I know there'll be a lot of questions for you and what the next steps will of course be. So you can definitely join the conversation this afternoon on any one of our phone lines. Give us a call on 0809 191 3913. It's also 0809 222 0913. Lastly, on the mobiles, it's 0809 234 5913. And on the landlines, any questions that you have for Dr. Jumoke Odiwole, please give us a call on 01236 7913, 01280 2913, and lastly it is 01280 3913. The conversation continues across social media, so do get involved and send in your tweets and comments to our Twitter page at Lagos Talks 913. We're also on Facebook.com/Lagos Talks, as well as Instagram at Lagos Talks 913. I need everybody to get involved and ask you all the key questions that they feel to ask you. So, where do we want to start from?
You tell me. Any questions in? If you recall, the 8 areas: starting a business, dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, registering property, getting credit, trading across borders, entry and exit of people, and paying taxes.
Okay, before we do that, let's start off with this call. Fine. Okay, so, one of my popular things is electricity, so let me tackle that one first.
Okay, so getting electricity, funny enough, we didn't actually put it out there as one of the things under the NAP 60. We scoped it, and it's a bit of a tricky one because it's a lot of hard infrastructure, which we're not working on. We're working on the softer side. But like I said, the ministry is hard at work. But we decided to look at the processes and how many steps. It was about 9 steps that it takes for new premises to be connected to the grid. And you know, Lagos, for instance, is an expanding metropolis. You have people working more and more, moving their offices, their business premises more to the outskirts. And just how does a new business access or a new building get access to the grid? Yeah, so we decided to focus on reduction of the number of procedures and a reduction in the timeline. It was noted at 198 days, and we moved that to 61 days.
Wow.
And the reduction in the number of procedures from 9 to 5, so that's how it gets to that. Now, so actually, those two things were the focus, and NERC and the Ministry of Power Works and Housing, working with the discos, starting with 2 out of the 11 discos, were able to achieve both.
Oh,
so
really?
So they're actually the only ones at 100%. So
that's positive news.
It is. It is. I think because it's such a hard terrain.
It should be well known.
Yeah, well, because it's such a hard terrain, and people are more concerned with their electricity supply. Yeah, I guess they push extra hard. Whatever they could do, they were very cooperative.
Sure.
Whatever they could do to make it simpler.
They did that.
Yeah. So.
Okay. That's very promising. Okay, but I feel like there's some that you want to highlight that you saw through and was consistent from the beginning of the 60-day plan all the way, till present day.
Well, I'm happy to talk about all. I think they're all equally important, and it's interesting to hear what the listeners want to know about. And then also, I'd be interested in telling you what the council is working on next, because we also touched on that. At the last council meeting. Okay. So pretty much so we've done electricity. I can go on to getting credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting credit, basically a lot of awareness campaign. The two big things that we needed to do is pass 2 bills at the National Assembly, and they've made some traction, but they actually asked us to please give them till after they've been able to pass the budget. So those 2 are not done yet. But in the meantime, they're at 75% because they increased the usage of credit history and credit scoring, a lot of advocacy. The National Credit Registry has been doing a lot of work, the National Collateral Registry, sorry, and then the credit bureaus also have been doing a lot of advocacy and sensitizing. So more businesses are registering, and it helps them with, we've also been talking a lot, stakeholder engagements. So we feel that in itself, the fact that you can register your movable property or you can use your movable property as collateral, and the financial institution registers it, and so that gives you access to unlock that value for credit. And also by having a credit history, by being registered at a credit bureau, you also can have a better credit score to access credit.
Credit rating, just in general, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's getting credit, but we are still working with the National Assembly on this. One of the bills has already passed the House, all 3 stages, and is now with the Senate. And another one was originated at the Senate, and we're hoping a member of the House will take it and have concurrence. So they're still working on finishing.
I mean, a couple of things need, the higher levels to okay it. So it's not necessarily you and your team, but if these things, once they're agreed upon, then everything is a go.
Yeah, and you recall that both the Senate President and the Speaker of the House attended the extended, when this National Action Plan 60 was launched on February 21st, they both were in attendance and committed to it. So there's a representative on the council, Senator Nala, and he's been working at it. So.
Great. This is really good news. Okay, remember that you can join the conversation at any point today. Our special guest is here once again, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Trade, Industry and Investment. Dr. Jumoke is live and direct in the studios. Okay, we'll go to the phone lines quickly. It is Lagos Talks.
Good evening.
Hello, Lisa.
Yes, my name is Lisa.
Okay.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening.
I believe it's my first time of speaking with you. I've listened to the 2 parts there, the 2 occasions that you were in the studio.
Nice. Continuity. It's a leadership issue, but I think that it also has a lot to do with the style. So this administration took a conscious policy not to jettison the good policies on ground or in the pipeline. You took some time to review them, and those that were good. I think the main problem is implementation. I'm not so sure that Nigeria has a policy problem. We're very intelligent people with a lot of ideas. So it's now actioning those policies in a consistent way. I know what you're talking about. Yes, because it is consistently working on an issue. We were consistently neglecting. That's why we went into a free fall. So to reverse that and going uphill, we all know it's much easier to fall than to climb. So it's going to take a lot of consistency. Every administration is entitled to set their own agenda, but we can only hope and use our votes to make sure that there's continuity.
Good plug there, like that. But Lisa raises a very key point, and you and I have discussed this off air. All this hard work, what happens if it ends by 2019?
So we thought quite a bit about it when we were forming the project. And the reason why we took this approach, we did a worldwide study, so we didn't reinvent the wheel. This has been done before in Georgia, in Rwanda, Kenya, looking at some developing country, emerging markets, how people have fixed previously very difficult climates and made them more conducive. It takes concerted effort. It takes strong political will, frequent meeting, like really top engagement from the... teamwork is essential. Everybody needs to be pulling in the same direction, which is why you see the executive or the federal government reaching out to the state governments. Yesterday we were in Kano. Today we're here. We're having a stakeholder engagement in Lagos on Tuesday. We work with all the MDAs. We work with the National Assembly, with private sector. The important thing is to make sure that the MDAs own their reforms. So we don't just dictate, this is what you have to do. We work with the staff of the MDAs to come up with these reforms, to interrogate the problems together with a fresh set of eyes, and to set the agenda and the prescribed solutions follow through. That's the only way it can be sustainable, when the change is from within.
Okay, and Lisam's final question, which was...
I think I've answered
You've answered all of them. Thank you.
It was sustainability, the model, and the movable.
And the movable. Okay, excellent. It's 37 minutes past the hour of 4, and we're here on Talk Business, on the Ease of Doing Business special. Remember to send your tweets in to our Twitter page, which is at Lagos Talks 913. You can also join the conversation across Facebook as well, facebook.com/Lagos Talks 913, and I'll go over the landline numbers for you should you need them again. It's 01236 7913, 01280 2913, and it is also 01280 3913. On Twitter, Alex Ogundadegla says Dr. Oduwole should work with Governor Emefiele to get the banks to do real banking and stop frivolous charges.
Well, these are some of the things exactly that we need to work on. I think for us, what we've decided to focus on is how to support MSMEs, how to get MSMEs credit ready, and then we can really lean on the banks and the central bank, which is a regulator of the bank, to encourage. To be candid, we've already been leaning on the banks. A lot of meetings last year that I even attended in the Office of the Vice President were talking with Bank of Industry, thinking of how to recapitalize Bank of Agriculture.
And are they
working on the development? Development bank. CBN also has some funds. CBN even has some funds set aside, a disability fund for entrepreneurs with disabilities. So getting the word out there, there are pockets of money that are available. A lot of entrepreneurs don't know about it, or when they do know about it, the strenuous process to apply for the loans and all the things you have to get in place, and then the high interest rates. So a lot of leaning on. Some state governments have partnered and had matching funds so that the interest rates in their states come down to about 5% because they contribute 5%, and then the CBN, we insisted on single digits, so that came to about 9%. So there's been a lot going on that end, and what we decided to focus on now is helping create a legislative framework that makes it more palatable for these banks to lend out money. So which is the framework for collateral registry.
Yeah.
And credit histories using the credit bureaus.
Okay, I knew this would happen. You couldn't just come and share just the good, and what you're leaning on.
Right there. I'm actually.
Okay, you're
that's
seeing
what
that
I
tweet
have right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll tackle that. Let me just go through the tweet. The Clothier says there's still issues with CAC and remitter. Payments are not easily updated, even with the RRR number pending over 72 hours now. So once you go there, I suppose you could be like, look, live and direct. I just did a show, and there's still some issues. So
starting a business is one of the most popular indicators, and the reason is, I've said it before, is the birth of a company. Anyone that has an idea, the first thing you need to do is open a limited liability company to get your idea in motion. Now, we've done a number of reforms that CAC has worked on, little things based really on having the application streamlined from end to end.
Yes.
Now, if you look at
that
yeah. So there's been form consolidation, there's been online payment, but there have been two things that are still pending, and we can circulate whoever wants. You can send them the infographics.
Yes.
Yeah, because we said we would be transparent. So
you did. You promised that much.
Release this, and we're going to publish it in the newspapers next week. Release it to the media on Monday. So the two things,
yes.
Yeah, you can. So the two things, the FIRS CAC stamp duties interface, that was done.
Yeah.
The procurement was done. The vendor was able to do it. It's going well. The remitter, in fact, before I get to the remitter, the portal itself, we're having issues stabilizing the portal, and there's been now funds set aside. There was a process. There was a bid, because we also have to move their servers to a private sector provider.
Just to touch on this, we also talked about this before, because what we had discussed was, are we going to now see a serious influx, and will the portal be able to cope with this amount?
The portal will be able to cope.
Okay.
More the question is when. Our target was to migrate today.
Okay.
In the sense that our target was to close the manual application process today, 28th of April. But we had to extend that to May 15th, because we cannot close it when it's not totally seamless.
Sure.
The remitter comment, really fair comment. There have been some issues. We've been working with remitter all week to fix that. And apart from that, once that is stabilized, we're even going to apply for other payment solutions to be put on the portal as well. We just want to stabilize the portal, move the servers. Of course, there was a process. There had to be a bid, about 4 companies, and then there was a selection, there's procurement, all those approvals, but now they're at the technical stage. Okay. So didn't finish on time, but
getting there.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that kind of addresses the Clothier's comments there.
Yes,
Thank you.
really fair comments, and we want in particular, starting a business has received a lot of attention, and we even want the attention to continue. The customer service, we've been on their case. They have to be more responsive, both on social media and the people that call in. So they're working on fixing that as well.
Okay.
And I should just plug this in now. Next month we're having a hackathon.
Oh.
Yeah, we are, because we want
to test the security of it.
No, not on CAC now. On the whole project, we want a monitoring and evaluation IT solution.
Okay.
Yes, that the public can drive, like created by Nigerian techpreneurs.
That's exciting. You should come in and talk about that a lot more very soon. Let's take this call, Dr. J. It is Lagos Talks. Hello. Yes, good evening. It is Lagos Talks.
Actually, so it's not. I think starting a business gets attention from the public because it's like the
new thing,
first thing. Yeah. But we look at it, paying taxes, getting credit, how you grow, like everything, to enforcement of contracts when there are problems, insolvency, minority protection when businesses start getting bigger. All those issues are covered actually, but not all of them are being prioritized right now. So I thought I'd say that. Yeah. So paying taxes, definitely. The government has a lot to do there, both in the administration of the system of collection, making it easier, e-filing, just making it, even on the assessment process, people being able to self-assess. One of the things that we've been working on is making sure that at the point of incorporation, that's a medium term, is one of the next steps, that you're able to get your TIN immediately. So you're seamlessly within the system.
Okay.
You get your tax identification number at the point of incorporation. So you're seamlessly within the system. Now, tax bracket differentiations, we do have that in Nigeria, but of course it's not a very I wouldn't say Nigeria is over taxes, because our tax rate is actually not excessive. But what it is the ease of the collection. We need to consolidate a lot of taxes. We need to work with state governments.
It needs to be a more thorough process, or a more seamless process.
More seamless, so that it's easier, really, for
transparent
for the businesses. Yeah. So consolidated payments, which are split at the back end, just things that make it that you can pay online. Those are the kinds of things that FIRS is already working on. And I've heard Mr. Fowler speaking about different innovations coming on board to make it just also working with a joint tax board to make sure that even multiplicity of taxes, or for instance, when you're moving goods from, say, the north to the south, different states as goods enter, because that's one of the, I was going to tell you about one of the things that the council is working on next. Some of the regulatory constraints. It's taken from feedback, processes and things like NAFDAC, SON, and then also we've had a lot of feedback about movement of goods within Nigeria. So that's some of the direction that's coming on next.
Research, as it's showing that it's actually starting a business that is at the forefront of everything. This is what is going to help us with the index chart. Once we fix all these things for businesses that would start.
I think starting a business gets particular attention from people that are just planning or just about in the process of starting businesses. So maybe the youngest demographic, or the demographic that are just reaching out. Maybe you're in paid employment, but you want to branch out. So people are trying to conceive, how do I start my own business? How do I tackle all these processes? So the easier it is for people to start businesses in a country, it affects the economy, because it triggers, it unlocks a lot of potential, a lot of innovation, a lot of... So that's why it's an important indicator. You can almost tell the number of businesses. Statistically, you can determine how many would succeed. And so the more are started, they employ at least 10 to 60 people. So it's a catalyst for economic development.
All right. Before we introduce Anthony, let's take this call. Good evening, Anthony.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so who's taking Henry's comments out?
Do you wanna
No, go ahead.
I can just appreciate Henry for the balanced view.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Sometimes, like I was talking about access to credit and saying some of the funds that are available, sometimes it's really knowledge that, or sort of the lack of knowledge that makes people assume that there's nothing. There are people that are quietly accessing loans at 5%, being able to have tax breaks.
Loopholes, yes.
Even, they're legitimate. It's not like they're legitimate. Depends on the sector you're in. Like if you go into agriculture, if you go into solid minerals, because there are government policies trying to promote some areas. So there are different types of, and it just takes the diligence to research, to ask questions, to work with consultants.
So the information is out there.
Oh, yes.
And accessible to all in different sectors.
Yes.
If they just choose
to. I think we could do more with telling people more. But I think also a little bit of effort, because people assume there's nothing. So a little bit of effort, like he just said, like Henry just said. He's done the filing. There are things that people assume just don't work and never work. But they do.
Okay.
So the benefit of the doubt, basically.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I think there's a lot of skepticism out there, and so that just makes people not try a lot of things. And as Dr. James said,
before trying.
So even data, there's a lot of data out there that people don't realize it's available, and so you hear there's no data on Nigeria, there's no data on this, but if you a little bit patient and you go out there, you see the data. So these processes are out there, but somehow we are just skeptical. We just believe nothing works, and so we don't even test some of those.
That's why it's good to have interviews like this, is that you so we can hear it from the very top. That actually,
I like that. Actually, I like what Anthony just said. National Bureau of Statistics, huge, very current, like world class. They've received awards. Top website from wherever you are. There's a lot of, we pass on a lot of anecdotal information, especially negative. But taking the time to search oneself, you'll be amazed. I mean, there are people doing well in this country. There are people that will not leave this country if you beg them. It's true, because they understand it, they understand their sector, they're diligent, they're working hard. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that there's not a lot to be done, but this land is actually blessed. There are people flourishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that positive take on it. All right, Dr. J, we don't want to wrap up just yet, but we are starting to come to the end.
No, don't wrap up, because I want to tell you
Please do.
Things like trading across borders, we've done a lot of work. We're really low, 182 out of 190.
Yes.
But I told you also that only 10 people filled the questionnaire.
Filled out the questionnaire.
Yeah, so we've been trying to tell more people, so whoever has, just to know. But we've done quite a few reforms, palletizing of imported goods.
Yes.
Just to make it all neat and tidy. Advanced manifest, so it's faster at the ports. Importantly, there was a presidential directive reducing the amount of documentation needed for imports into the country from 14 to 8, and for exports from 10 to 7, and this is with immediate effect.
Wow.
Yeah, so with a lot of background work from the Secretariat and with the MDAs, looking at our peers, like Nigeria had 14 when everybody else had like 8, 7, 6, and what exactly do you need this for? Kill it. What exactly do you need this for?
I think we just want it to be extra thorough, hence 14.
And then we're trying to make the documents even more accessible, so just to reduce cost, time, and of course the rent-seeking opportunities. Entry and exit of people, you would notice that the Abuja airport opened on time.
Before time?
Yes, actually.
Before time.
Yes. And the renovated terminal.
Yes.
There's more work ongoing, but really, really, really at least neater, more functional space, more comfortable space for travelers. Even plants and flags and things like that, water fountains.
So aesthetically pleasing too.
Yes, and just idea. No, that was a long time coming, and now FAN is turning their attention to Lagos Airport. We started working on that already.
We've been wondering when they will open the new
That
terminal.
makes
The
me
terminal
happy.
has been dragging.
The new terminals are going to be concessioned, and those, both Lagos and Abuja, and there's one in Port Harcourt, and I think Kano, they're going to be 4. They're going to be concessioned. They were meant to open in Q3, but I don't know what, because right now a lot of money was spent on the runway. I really don't know the current status of those terminals. But the existing terminals that we use, the only reason why Lagos Airport didn't hit its target was because all attention was on Abuja Airport and making sure, and then Kaduna, making sure. But now that's over. So all attention is now on Lagos Airport. So that definitely has to be wrapped up.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, and of course there was a new immigration regulation released during this period. Visa on arrival, working much better, better and better every day. 24-hour visa processing. Also, we had a crisis with passport booklets.
Yeah.
That was also worked on very seriously. Availability of passport booklets in Nigerian missions abroad. So now that has eased. There's been a supply of almost 200,000 booklets that was released. So, I mean, there are issues, but yes, yeah. I think I'll also touch on state governments working on registration of property and dealing with construction permits. Dealing with construction permits, a lot has happened in Lagos State. I mean, if you just go on their portal, it's really, they have an e-filing portal. Beehive of activity, a lot of information, requirements. Remember that one of the overarching themes of all the reform areas is transparency and of course the people issues. So when we have websites that are current, have the procedures, the cost, the time, we really give kudos. We were in Kano, working with Kano State government also. And one thing I would tell you, I want to tell you a bit about what's coming next, because you really supported us over the last 60 days. I mean, even though Nigerians are skeptical by nature, I think there was genuine enthusiasm for this project. And to just imagine that in 60 days, which is why we're being so, holding ourselves so accountable and telling you what will happen to the other 30%. So our next steps, the first thing is to deepen what we've done. First of all, of course, needless to say, finishing within the next 45 days, and the council has given directive for the 30% of reforms that weren't achieved within the 60 days. Deepening those reforms, because they have to really go, when you have something that has been approved top level, you really need to operationalize it till it works. Like CAC, all those regulations approved, the budget, the procurement, all those high level things, but now working it operationally, step by step, getting it seamless. Same thing with the ports processes. The customs is now going to coordinate the inspection so that the importer doesn't have to run around talking with everybody. Yeah, so deepening those. And then the next thing that is a priority is working with the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory on doing business
as well.
So they're going to be ranked next year. Nigeria is one of the few countries in the world that the World Bank does a subnational ranking. And the reason why we go back to the World Bank is that it's an objective scorecard. If you want to work for Nigeria, it does not hurt at all using a scorecard. Not to please anybody but ourselves.
Just us, yes,
because those indicators are actually meant to unlock access to ease of doing business, economic development for SMEs, which I keep saying are the drivers of the economy, employ 80% of workers and contribute 50% to GDP. So that's really the aim. So working with all the states through the National Economic Council, which is also chaired by the Vice President, and then the Governors Forum. Some states have already started, but we're going to have an active, you know...
They're going to have a representative in each state.
Yeah, the state governments have representatives.
Themselves,
so we will work with states, both in regions and individually. Nigeria has been ranked like 3 times, so there's a model in place, there's a template in place. But we have this new template, the federal government, like top heavy, like you have those directives from the presidency down. So we're going to start with the governors. And some, like Kaduna State is already ahead, they've started. Ogun State also has been very engaged in the process.
It's promising.
Yeah. And the final thing is the trading within Nigeria, which also we're going to release a survey. A survey next month, because one of the things that I've talked about repeatedly is prioritizing and taking things step by step, because you can't do everything at the same time. So in our stakeholder engagements over the last year, so listing out, you have some recurring names of agencies. Every time I'm on like channels, somebody calls in about the police. Everywhere I go, somebody talks about NAFDAC. So there's some. So we're listing the top. We're listing the top ones, and administering a survey. What are the top agencies that MSMEs have challenges with, and what are your top 3 challenges?
That's
collect that information because we can prioritize from Abuja. But we want to hear. And I've heard a lot of feedback about moving goods within the country.
That's cool.
Having stopped all the time, and things like that. So
it's nice to know that for me, there's somebody from that official level that is coming down and being in touch with everything that is happening on ground, to then go out and either report back or say, okay, from the reports I get back, these are the focal issues, and taking it back.
The Vice President himself has been out. Yeah, and he's been listening.
Very
he
impressive.
toured the airport, he went to Aba, he's gone to a number of places. Sokoto. It's not just about like Lagos, and it's not just even about the big commercial centers, because we need IGR across the states. We need a lot for the economy to really everybody pull in the same direction, come strongly out of recession, diversify the economy, and really have a strong, robust.
I think the importance of this, I was just doing an analysis before I left the office, and I was looking at states' disbursements from the Federation allocation accounts to states from 2013 to 2016, and it has dropped by 1.5 trillion consistently been on the downward trend.
Yeah.
So if you look at that trend, that shows basically states. That's why states are in trouble now, and basically states depend on those disbursements. So without states getting their business environment thriving, there's no way out. That's why you have up to last year, they've had between last year and now they have had 1.75 trillion naira in bailouts. It's not going to solve the problem because they are top heavy and they don't have much in terms of internally generated revenue. Lagos alone generates more internal revenue than 33 states combined. So unless you get all those states together and become viable for businesses, it's not going to. So that's why it's very important what they're doing now, trying to go to the states and trying to make them understand that you need to. Governance is no longer going to Abuja to collect funds. It has to be with making your business thrive for. Making your state-led businesses thrive. And as I said, I think Kaduna State and Ogun State has been on it for some time, and it's paid them heavily. They became one of the fastest growing states recently. And I think, because there's been a lot of industrialization, trying to take advantage of on the back of Lagos and build their state. So most state governors need to really understand this. Is essential for their existence to make it easy. I know there needs to be, I don't know how if that's within your purview, but definitely, because there needs to be a restructuring of maybe, what's it called? It needs to be a legal backing to allow states to, for instance, one issue most people have raised, like, because the government is in charge, the federal government is in charge of corporate taxes, it makes it difficult for states to give incentives for companies that want to set up operations in their states.
It's not about, for states, people underestimate it's really a pretty good deal being in a state, in the sense that, for instance, the federal government has no land. Very little land. So any state that wants to attract
they have
investors, you simply give. There are a lot of ways to solve the problem. People focus a lot on taxes, but it's not the only thing. And there are even levies. There are different things that you can waive as a state, but most importantly, you have land. You have land, and you have people. You have So I think that's just a very good point. That's exactly why we're working with states. IGR, internally generated revenue, is the only way for sustainability. And not just states, regions, because you have economic corridors, you have clusters of states. Like you can look at Kaduna, Kano, there are a number of states, Kebbi, Jigawa. You see states that maybe they're farming the same crops across. Maybe it's rice, maybe it's tomatoes, they're a number of things that the farmers are across, because really, all this constructs. So grouping as regions, even across the country, Kebbi and Lagos have a partnership on rice. And it's doing very well. They grow it, they process it, they export it.
And it works,
so thinking creatively,
like that,
being really progressive and working together, having strategic, so having a thriving business climate. And we also work in partnership with Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC. They focus on investment. They've mapped out the whole country. There's no state that doesn't have something going for it.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on it. It seems as though once you get the remaining 33 states up where, Lagos and Kaduna and everybody else is, then the ground is rich, so to speak.
Yes. I know someone in agriculture that came here and said, Nigeria, you have land,
we just need to tap.
You have water. There are a lot of crops that grow in different parts of the country. So, just looking at agribusiness, the government's part is to make sure that the hard infrastructure, the railways, the roads, so that crops can go, because the percentage of goods that rot from the north coming down to the port, so that's it. The rail, the roads,
the value chain.
Total value chain. So things like that. But we have to make sure that it's conducive. If you want a business person to move from, say, Lagos and to go set up in Kebbi and become a rice farmer, what incentives will Kebbi give? Yeah, and how would you work on, okay, processing of my rice paddy, making sure storage is available, transporting, how will I get quality staff to live there? And yeah, so all that. If, of course, all these things that we're putting in place to make it easier to do business, if they're in place, then it wouldn't really matter so much where you are.
Where you are, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Dr. Jumoke, do you have a timeline for what would happen with the remaining states to get?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's hard to speak for states, as you know, we're a federation. But what I do know is that some states have already been reaching out.
Good.
Yeah. A number of states, a number of my equivalent in different states that are working on doing business, whether commissioners for commerce or whether SAs that are working on doing business for the states or working in the investment promotion agencies of the states have been reaching out. Some states have not yet clued in. So what we're doing is preparing sort of a template, even as we pull as the federal government and as we work with Lagos and Kano, we're preparing this same template to be administered by state governments for themselves. To check your own states, how conducive is it, like getting a C of O, like registering your title, access to credit, starting a business. Some states put additional levels in an attempt to generate more income. You make it really quite difficult, and people wait and are like, why should I do business in this state? I'm just going to go somewhere else. So explaining all that, like if you expand the pie, then you don't even need to charge more for different things. You can simplify processes and more people are attracted to you. You can make actual investment promotion and just even Kaduna is a great example. They're just pulling a lot, and you have they're not the only state, but they're actively promoting
themselves.
Kebbi is doing fantastic in agriculture. Like Anthony said,
too,
Ogun is doing phenomenally well, piggybacking off being so close to Lagos. It's doable. It's doable. It's just being strategic and working hard. It's a lot of work.